Hi, this is Mark Scharenbrock, the Assembly Speaker at last fall's Assembly. Greetings to everybody at the Glenbrook North Nation. Hey, last fall I talked about stop counting crayons, just draw pictures, which means share your talents, don't compare your talents. Everybody at Glenbrook North has got such amazing gifts, and when you find your spark and share with the people around you, Glenbrook North keeps becoming a better place every year. So let's showcase your spark, showcase your talents, and share them with those around you. My best to everybody in the Spartan Nation. Hey, boomba hey, Spartans.
Magic inspires me.
Being able to escape through reading a good book.
My family and friends and music because it helps me go through the hard times.
Being Santa Claus in the holiday time.
I look back on my life, maybe a few years from now, most of the memories that I'll have probably wouldn't have happened yet. So in a sense, we're living on our greatest memories right now.
Children have school and holiday spirit.
Hanging out with our friends. When I walk around the hallways of Glenbrook North High School and I see people being nice to each other and doing small acts of kindness.
Writing poems make me happy.
Dancing makes us happy.
Family. I come from a very big family. My dad's one of 14 kids. I have 43 cousins on one side.
We've known each other since we were 2 years old. We live on the same street and we're best friends.
Oh, hi! I didn't think I'd meet you on this mountain. I love hiking the mountains, talking about hiking the mountains, and reading about hiking the mountains.
When other people are happy and enjoying themselves and having a good time.
Mr. Orion's beard and Mr. Workman's luscious locks of hair.
A group of students having fun while they're in class.
Every day I see Mr. Primo.
I teach physics and it's always a rough subject, but the classes that I have this year are amazing.
Seeing that my friends are happy.
Being with my family and friends makes me happy.
I like sledding. Sledding makes me happy.
I love when kids come back from college and say, hey, thanks for your class, it was really worthwhile, it was a lot of fun.
Being with my family and friends in warm weather makes me happy.
I love to knit, and I love my Michon Frise, and I love to travel.
Stage crew, because it's a lot of fun and I enjoy it very much.
People who go out of their way to help others.
Seeing all these people at GBN in such a tight, close-knit community, working together and just having really good relationships, helping each other out, that sense of community is what makes GBN special.
Handelman's family. Family means that nobody gets left behind or forgotten.
In 1988, I was on Card Sharks, and that's where I was on for 5 days. I was in Hamilton 1 days, and did pretty well.
Check this out. You ready? Here we go.
Hang out with kids all day. Good time.
Photography, I'm really passionate about it.
We are professional bird callers.
They found my iPod after it was lost for 7 weeks and they gave it back to me.
Mr. English, who is a PE teacher and a health teacher as well, and he's just one of the nicest people that I've ever met. When I was a freshman, I got the Summit Flu at school. I think they were a senior, was helping me.
Sydney Schwartz wrote a college recommendation letter for me before she even wrote her own college application essays.
Every year in the wintertime, if there's a snowstorm during the school day, someone goes out and scrapes off a whole bunch of cars.
Daphne Kramer lent me her calculator for math.
And we come out, if you've worked a little bit later and you're just sort of exhausted and the last thing you want to do is scrape your car, and you find out that it's already been done. And that person is Bill Varine.
Coach Nisi and Coach Savino have really helped me
Just like stay on task, stay eligible with my grades and stuff.
Every day when my brother comes and volunteers for the past 2 months and so on to work with our girls with the basketball program.
My sister, I was having a really rough week, was really upset, and I had to go to work, and when I came home, there was a present waiting for me with a card, and it just made my whole week a lot better.
A couple weeks ago, my parents had to leave promptly at 6 in the morning, and I was very confused as to why. I called my friend Jamie Kramer right away, and she woke up and came over to my house at 6:30 in the morning to keep me company.
Mr. Froelich in the science department, he often puts himself ahead of the other teachers who teach physics by making great demos for us that we then share with the whole Glenbrook community.
Marty Wyden, on every AP environmental test that we have, she always helps me study.
In the math department, I sit by Mr. Knapp, Mr. Benson, and Mr. Campbell. And these guys, they will drop anything they're doing. The most important things they will drop to help a student every time.
Erica Fox puts me before herself every single day, and I love her, and she's the best friend ever.
Mrs. Rundy, otherwise known as Coach Rundy, is a teacher and a coach here who always puts everyone before herself.
And Alana Goldberg stayed up with me all night to help me study for a test. Thanks, Alana.
The most underrated and funny and talented and kind kid out there is Casey Murphy.
Kylie Meixner. Mr. Schroeder. Maddie Sroda.
Julia O'Brien for her opera singing.
Kyle Sherman.
Daniel Newman.
Jamie Scholl.
Rob Klein, I think he is the best dressed person at GBN.
Emily Hayes is very underrated.
Jake Paul, he's one of my good friends, love him to death, awesome guy.
Our coaches! We love you, Coach Bilek and Coach Brescia.
Underrated teacher is Miss Berman, who is so awesome because she's not boring like other teachers.
We think Agent Lee is highly underrated because she's very smart and funny.
Jacob Zatz, he's a really good athlete and is really nice, and he's a really good friend.
Julia Varekis, because she bakes randomly and brings the cookies to school.
Rachel Becker has the best laugh in the school and is really contagious.
Lady Groomer is underrated, really, really smart.
Yesha Shah, because she's really awesome. Alana Shapiro is really funny and her laugh inspires others.
Coach Nabo is one of the most underrated people at GBN.
Harrison Mumford, he's probably one of the funniest kids ever.
Sophomore, Lauren Mercury. She's very underrated because she's funny and she's my neighbor and she's always there for me when I'm upset.
My partners in Operation Snowball, Amanda Lazaro, Darren Sullivan, and Tricia Lazaro, who works at Glenbrook off campus, have been working on planning and developing and making something of Operation Snowball here at GBN.
James Spector Bishop, a senior. It's underrated in this school because he's an awesome kid and he's one of my best friends.
Robert Grosselescu, he's a recent transfer here.
Joe Focal is underrated and Ellery Merriman is beautiful.
Mika Strong, she's very dedicated, she faces adversity well, and she does so cheerfully.
Alana Mallman, she's a very good basketball player, and she's a sophomore, and she's our starting point guard, and I don't think a lot of people know about her, but they really should get to know and watch her play basketball.
Sharuk Saduki, just a constant and never-ending learner.
My Spanish teacher, Senor Keeler, I think he's really funny and smart, and his way of teaching is very, very effective.
Kelly Cohen, she's the epitome of grace.
Joanne Park, she was just cheerful, got to know a lot of people every day, became very, very popular.
Ryan Hultman. Ryan Hultman is this great old soul kid.
Shout out to the PE department. Thanks, GBN.
Mrs. Cowan, she's a very nice secretary in the dean's office, and she just makes my day a lot better whenever I go in.
Sloan Oponsky, she's an amazing cheerleader. She works her butt off every single day at practice.
My good friend, Mr. Hoynes, he doesn't go around tooting his own horn and telling everybody how smart he is, but he is an extremely intelligent person, very thoughtful, able to see things from 1,000 different angles, and he goes out of his way every day to make people feel good about themselves.
Jerry Hoynes is the most underrated individual we have in this building. Everybody knows him as this great, big, jolly guy who's hilarious. He's also probably one of the smartest, most involved activists we have in the building.
Don't you think that Marco Beltrano is really talented?
Most definitely. He's so good at basketball too, and he just cracks me up all the time.
We think that the most underrated person here at GBN is Taylor Heyman. She'll probably be our next family consumer sciences teacher.
Dr. Paul M. Prima.
Paul M. Prima.
It's just most people consider him to be like a 10 out of 10.
Like a 10 out of 10, like the best person in the universe. And that, frankly,
that's underrated. We think he's a 17, 18 out of 10.
Someone who's underrated that is talented beyond all is just Jacobson, man.
He's able to beatbox like a boss, and he's just an overall good friend.
Hi, I'm Jess Jacobson. The person who I think is underrated is Matthew Hayes. He's an amazing friend, my best friend.
Jordan Sugar. He works hard in the weight room, and he's got a great heart, great spirit.
We think that the special ed department is underrated.
We rock.
We rock.
Coach Williams for being an outstanding coach in football and a great person in the GBN community.
The most underrated person at GBN is definitely Maddie Kahn. She's so good at tennis.
And the most underrated person at GBN is Nicole Otaki. She's not only really smart, she's also really funny.
Coach Haggis, he is remarkably talented when it comes to the basketball floor.
Coach Matt Haggis, he's done a great job in the lacrosse and football program. I think he's an outstanding person.
I would like to give a shout out to all the students that I have this year in the team program, in my classes. Mr. McDonough, who I team teach with, Kathy McLaughlin in the special ed department. She works so hard.
Well, the most underrated student at Glenbrook North is Edward Kay, and the most underrated teacher would have to be Mr. Weiner.
Diego Rivera and Lily Jager. Robin Shepard. She is the head of the social studies department, so students don't really know her, but she's the coolest person in the building. Daniel Lasky is the coolest, most talented, architect ever.
Nicole Koshivatsky is the most underrated person at this school. She is so funny. She has so many jokes to tell.
Bobby Picaro. He's always positive about everything, and he just boosts everyone's day.
Taylor Heyman is underrated awesome because she goes out of her way to say hi to everyone and she's never without a smile on her face.
Mrs. Bauer. She's smart, she's funny, she's such an amazing teacher.
I would like to thank our custodial staff and all of the people that make this building work so beautifully. It is so shiny and bright and embraces our kids in a way that inspires them to be enthusiastic about learning. Thank you for my colleagues in maintenance and custodial.
Coach Tracy, because she's really cool and she's a really good coach.
I got to know Taylor Heyman this year as my peer group co, and she is the nicest, most caring person ever.
I think Chris Lee is a really funny guy. And I also think Chris is underrated because he's really good at basketball.
I think that Miss LeBlanc up in social studies is very underrated. I just think she's the nicest, kindest person ever. You know, I've come to really think of her like family.
Person I believe at GBN who is smart, funny, and all around talented is Winton Rude, who is a freshman. He is probably one of the most amazing human beings I've ever met.
Natalie Papazian. If you haven't met her, she's the nicest, funniest, most interesting person. Rachel Becker, because she's my senior peer group and I love her. Marie Whitehead, because she's easily one of the nicest people I've ever met. Maggie Dorr. She's so willing to help everyone and is constantly looking out for others.
I think Daniel Cowboy is a very underrated person at school.
And I think that James Hanley is one of the most underrated people because he is one of the most polite, sweet kids that I've had in class.
Probably Mike Neese. He's probably the funniest around. So.
Jamie Kramer and Katrin Hallahan, because they're peer group leaders.
Emily Schill is underrated and awesome because she's funny,
She's talented.
and she's smart.
Freshman Dylan O'Malley is super underrated. That kid makes my day every day. For teacher, I think that Miss Gallison and Miss Scholes are both unbelievable teachers.
Chris Cooper is not only Canadian, he actually is underrated as an athlete. He is an incredible volleyball player. He's really agile and really skilled. He holds just about every record at Ball State, and he's super smooth and athletic and cool. Seriously, he's actually Canadian.
Kevin Mackin is underrated awesome. He is honestly one of the funniest people I've ever met. His one-liners are killer.
Sean Killian, he is so nice and he can ride a unicycle, which is pretty cool.
And Marco Beltrano is underrated at GBN because he's awesome.
Mr. Wagner in social services. He's a really great guy.
Mr. Vincent, because he is such a cool dude. He's one of the top teachers in the school.
Kim Hill, she's so smart and so funny in class.
Nate Berger is the most underrated person at GBN.
Nate's just really funny and he's really fun to have classes with because he makes everything funny and finds a joke out of everything.
David Paulin, because he's very smart at math. He's in my math class. He sits next to me and he helps me get an A.
Tony Kogan, because he's really good at freestyling.
Anna Satek. She is just underrated overall.
Jennifer Warwick, who works with us in the IDEA. She is awesome for so many reasons. No matter what the problem is, she's always willing to try and help you solve it.
Her unknown talents is that she has the ears and the nose of a dog, so she can smell and hear pretty much anything. Like a dog can hear or smell.
Good morning, Spartans. Today's an important day, all-school workshop, a chance for us to share really important ideas and thoughts, concepts and feelings with one another. I'm encouraging you to take Mark Scherenbrock's lead and let that kind of take over in your classroom today as you discuss the concepts of living freely, loving a lot, and not counting crayons. I hope you have a great day. I'm so proud of all of you and all that you provide this great school of ours. Let's make it even stronger today with a good all-school workshop experience. Go Spartans!